The Beavery Donut Belly. Oh, we are live here. Good day, all. Welcome to the Wholesale Real Estate Investing Show number 249 by SAHA. And yeah, we were talking about a little bit of some donut belly diet action taking place within our organization. But, hey, you guys don't really need to know about all that on this Wisdom Wednesday. April 20th, 2015. First off, I want to start off by making an apology for anybody who came here on, well, not anybody, for all of you who came here on New Up Day and found a blank screen. Because, in this business, as you guys who are already in it know, and those of you who are wanting to get in it need to know, plans change. Things will happen. There's going to be times when you can sit there and make out the most perfect plan for tomorrow, and at 7 o'clock the night before, or maybe 8 o'clock, or maybe 9 o'clock, or maybe 10 o'clock, right before you go to bed, who knows what time it could pop up, all of a sudden something is going to be needing to take place tomorrow that you're going to have to scrub the whole day and say, that's what I got to do. And that's pretty much what happened on New Op Day. And my bad, I wasn't able to get the information over to John so that he could actually be here and host this in my place. So all on me, guys. With that though, hey, John's here. I'm going to say good morning, happy Wednesday to John, and welcome to the show.
Oh, well, thank you, Paul. Yeah, it's a shame that we missed New Op Day. Just to reiterate, that's a very important day of the week for us here, especially on these Hangouts, because we discuss the How to Win Friends and Influence People book, which, quite frankly, is our system for approaching our sellers. And since this is a wholesale program, we want to bring some value. Well, we don't want to bring some value. We want to bring a lot of value to you, the listeners. So yeah, sorry that we missed that one. But we'll be back next New Update to do it. But today is Wisdom Wednesday, and I'm going to let Paul start us off, only because I've been studying this sales and marketing guru, Jeffrey Gitomer, the last 2 nights, and I don't even know where I want to begin or even how to break into the content that I've been exposing myself to. But why don't you go ahead, Paul, get things started, and I'm sure I can just jump in and follow along with whatever you got planned. And why don't you tell us what you titled today's Hangout?
Today's Hangout is kind of a subject I've been stuck on for the past couple of weeks, because I've really been, we have really been experiencing the power of team. And when I say that, we've really been experiencing it, and we just had we do 2 shows here every AM on New Op Day, Wednesday and Friday. The other one is for network marketing business, and the subject matter there was very similar. And I compared the network marketing business to our real estate business here, in the fact that when you join a network marketing business, you're automatically part of a team. There you go. Boom. I mean, you sign up, you got team right there. You're part of that team. When you decide to go into real estate investing, what team do you have besides me, myself, and I? Okay. That's your team. You got a 3-man team, and it's all wrapped up right in here. And for you to be able to build your team, you have to start doing that all on your own. You got to find your own title company. You got to find your own real estate agents. You got to find your own attorneys. You got to find your own accountants. You got to find your own bookkeepers. You got to find your own door knockers. You got to find your own researchers. You got to find your own letter writing marketing companies. You got to find, you have to find all this stuff on your own. This really is, real estate investing is building a business from the ground up, in a sense, because it does take a team. I mean, I can't really get that point across. So more importantly, that this business requires a team, and you have to be, obviously you have to be the leader of that team. So some leadership skills are obviously a very important factor in, you know, your ability to be successful in this. And obviously your leadership skills are going to grow out of your, you know, your confidence levels. So if you're not a very confident person and you're not a good leader and you need to build a team, which I'm first to admit, that's the arena that I came from. Not a very confident person, not a good leader, and having to build a team. And reason why, you know, here we are 3-4 years later before, you know, business really starts turning around and growing. But the knowledge of that and where we've come from and seeing, I mean, I'm sure John will agree with this. We pretty much almost, you know, rejected the whole idea of anybody being able to, we got to do this all on our own kind of a mentality to begin with that has completely taken a shift in the past year or so, and coming to understand the power of a team and building a team successfully in wholesale real estate is a tough thing. And like I said, you know, your team to start with is you, yourself, and I, and you really are building a business from the ground up, and you're the one who has to do all these things. It's really, really, really a tough road to hoe.
Wow, you know, never has been a more powerful statement been made, really, quite honestly. I think just to tell you a little bit of where Paul and I come from, and I share this because I read an article that said what's personal to you, what's most personal to you, you have in common with 80% of the people. And when you read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, he refers to the fact that 98% of the people out there are just kind of drifting through, no real direction. So with those two things being said, Paul and I like to share a lot of our personal background on these hangouts and share with you guys where we came from, because again, what we have in common with 80% of the people out there is that's where more people have in common with Paul and I than they don't have in common. With that being said, you know, our first year in business, Paul and I only did 3 deals. Now, if you look at what we did in the last 9 months of 2015, we were able to complete 52 deals. And we're on track already this year to do well over 100 deals. I say this because what kept us from doing 52 deals the first year we started? And that was really the lack of a team. But Paul and I did have persistence, which with 98% of people lack. And we knew that we had some work to do in changing our mindset. And it was when we began changing our personal mindset and opening up to the fact that not only do we need to bring people into the team or go and sit down with a more experienced investor and seek out other people's help, what we realize is not only that we have to go out and do that, but how many people in the real estate business will actually help other people. I speak from my personal side here, and you know, I'd like to hear what Paul's thought is on this. But part of the reason why I was reluctant to work with other people outside of just Paul for the first year, and we did hire somebody and just kind of separate ourselves from the actual real estate community in Phoenix that was doing something and focusing more on guru, online, expensive education, was just simply because of the old ingrained habit and way of thinking that I have to do everything on my own if it means anything. I think a lot of working class people have that mentality. It's an old school mentality, and it's kind of a counterproductive mentality that could be holding you back. You've got to have a team. You've got to realize that it's more than okay to ask for help and go to people who are already doing what you're doing, no matter what level you're at. And there's plenty of people, because of the abundance that's out there for everybody to make money here, there's plenty of people that are going to be willing to share, work with, and mentor you. And that's a powerful thing.
You know what? That's um, just got to make a note here so I don't forget my next second thought there. No, that's exactly I think the tipping point, so to speak, or the awakening point, as you might call it, or whatever you want to, however you want to classify it. But what you said there about understanding that there's a lot of people out there that are willing to actually help you, that are willing to actually, you know, give you some direction and some advice, or willing to actually, you know, teach you those types of things. I think, like John said there, you know, it's so easy. You know, we want someone who can help us. That's why the guru education um, programs sell and make so much money, because here's somebody saying, hey, I will help you, and you're like, oh, I need help, here we go, let's do this, I'll pay for that help. People are willing to pay for the help. However, on the other hand, when it comes right down to having help right there, you know, that you can walk side by side with, it's almost like we think that doesn't exist. Nobody's willing to do that. People aren't going to, you know, spend their time helping me. Well, how do you think these guys are able to spend their time helping you? You know, they set up a system, obviously, to do so. But there's a lot of people out there, because in today's world, there's so much knowledge to know, and there's so many pieces to the puzzle in becoming successful in anything, really. And everybody is looking for people who can join their team and help them in areas that they would rather not be, you know, participating in their business in at that point in time, because their expertise, their functionality, their what they bring to the table is better suited in another area of the business. So people are more than happy to say, hey, I'll help you learn this piece right here, because I need some assistance in that area. You know, that's the whole thing. I need some assistance in that area, so why not? Hey, if you want to learn how to do that right there, sure, come on board and you'll learn how to do it. You'll be helping me, I'll be helping you. That's the way that, you know, the shift has happened from, you know, we're in a new era now, and that's the way that the shift is happening. People are now actually seeking out building team and helping others to learn what they do, because as they learn what they do, they can take something off of their plate that they can do more within their business and build a bigger, better business. So there's way more people out there now. Now, there's always been people out there that were willing to help, but not, you know, not in the same way that it's going on today, because people actually need the help, and therefore they're willing to give you the information that you're looking for. It's pretty awesome.
It's unbelievable. And you know what helped Paul and I jump in a very short period of time, in my opinion, because I know a lot of wholesalers, or a lot of would-be wholesalers, that kind of stayed within their shell, continues to try to do things on their own, and they're really not going anywhere with the business. They're doing a handful of deals a year, and you know what? They may be making good money, but they're driving themselves crazy, and they're not systemizing something that can carry on without them. That's another important piece of building the right team, Paul, is to point out that if you ever want to retire from your business, or turn your business into something of value, it would have to be a systemized business that produces a profit regularly, based on a system that produces a predictable result. That's a business system. Your business isn't worth anything if you are the business. It's only worth the time you can be putting into it, right? So you can never sell your business, because people don't want to buy, you know, a person who's looking to buy a business system isn't looking to buy a person. They're looking to buy a system that produces a profit. I bring that up because in order to create that system, in order to have a business that can carry on without you, you need to have a team. You need to build a system and have it supported by people.
Hey, you know what? I got a question for you. So that whole business system that creates a predictable profit, I mean, where is a very important place to have a system? Obviously, that would be sales, right? Because if you're going to have a predictable profit, you've got to have a sales system which is able to repeat itself over and over again, so that that income regularly comes in, so that you can have a predictable profit. Doesn't that make sense, John?
It makes absolute sense. Absolute sense. That's kind of the secret sauce right there. Is but it's getting over that mindset of having to do all this stuff on your own. And I know a lot of people that get into the initial stages of real estate investing don't really understand the power of the team, and just having a network of people and forming relationships is what it's all about. And you want to be successful. It's not just about the team you put together for your business that you're trying to build, but it's your team outside of your business for your personal things that you try to build. Look at your family. If you're married, look at your spouse, look at your children, look at your parents, and think about, being more of a team player with those people and bringing them into your life and into a way that adds value mutually to both your lives. And you can start thinking about just about everybody you network with and sit down with in some way, shape, or form are on your team. You're either on a team working towards a greater goal and working with, or you're working against. And I think it transcends outside of business. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make too, Paul, here, is that, I know we're focusing here on wholesale real estate and on building a business, but just to have the energy and the motivation and the belief system, I think, to build a strong business organization and a strong team, you've got to have those personal areas of your life systemized and a team put in place to handle other aspects as well, like health. You don't go, if you need an operation, right? You don't go and operate on yourself. You go and you find a doctor. You shouldn't just take the first doctor's opinion. You should be getting multiple opinions from various doctors and find one that you want on your team. That's the point here.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to now, so you're talking about obviously different systems, different, elements of the team. And we mentioned the fact that the sales team, the sales system is one of the, key elements of creating a predictable profit in your business. But now, what are some of the things that could take away within a business, within any business, wholesale real estate especially, but what are some of the things that could take away from the sales department, from the sales system? Other things that have to get done. When you're running your business by yourself, obviously you have to be all systems, right? Mm-hmm. So if you go to the sales system within your solo business, what are some of the things that could be taking away from your sales system?
Wow, that's a great question, and there's a lot of moving pieces to a real estate business. And why most wholesalers become wholesalers is you go out there and you knock doors or you cold call and you market, and now you've got your seller. So now you've got to comp the property, you've got to prepare your offer, you've got to sit down with that seller, and now you got to lock them up. Not saying that's a lot of work, but it takes some significant thought and effort, I believe, just to get in front of and sit down in the seller and make an effective offer to that seller. I think all too many times, a lot of wholesalers kind of half-ass it, and they blame the seller. Oh, they're just not motivated enough. Oh, they're not being realistic. No, one thing I've come to realize is, no, it's not that they're not motivated. No, not that they're not realistic. After all, this is their home and they want the most value. The most value doesn't necessarily mean highest offer, but you consider that you didn't get that person assigned and you start blaming them, did you ever stop to think that maybe you suck? Anyway, that's a little bit off tangent. What I'm saying here is what happens is you're not focusing on the value you're going to be delivering the client, the seller, because you're too busy half-assing your way through that sales pitch so you can work on the other areas of the business that Paul's talking about. Like, okay, now I've got it under contract. Now I've got to resell it. So now you've shifted your gears from being in the mindset of someone that's motivated to sell a property, and now you're getting in the mindset of motivating someone to buy a property. Two very different mindsets, two very different approaches, and two very different value systems that you're having to share with the clients. So that's another system within the business. And then you got your operations. Once you lock it up, you got to bring that property into the title company and you got to get it to close. So I hope that answers your question a little bit. I mean, those are just two of the other systems.
Hey, and then once you got it closed, you got the money. Now you got to figure out, what bills need to get paid. You got to figure out what we're going to do with this money. Well, how much am I going to put for taxes? You got to do all the accounting. Where did I spend all this money? How much driving did I do? Yada, yada, yada. You got to figure out all the books and the bookkeeping, and then you go out and you go out to your next deal and somebody questions your contract. You're like, oh my God, now is my contract good? I need to get an attorney to look at this. There's a lot of moving pieces. Like John said, just within the side of acquisition, just within the side of trying to get a deal in the first place, there's multiple pieces right in there that you yourself are responsible for. If you don't have any systems in place and you're doing all of this, how much time can you spend preparing letters to be mailed out tomorrow? If you actually got a hold of a seller and you need to prepare this, you need to comp this property and prepare this offer and write up the contract and do all these things. How much time are you going to be able to put into, getting your marketing ready to go out tomorrow? It's taking away from that. And if you're taking away from having your marketing going out, how many people are going to be calling you the day after that your marketing went out? So your sales are, your sales are affected, are held hostage, so to speak, by all of these things and how much time you're able to devote to these different areas. And as each one area, takes a little bit away from the other area, like I said, now you actually got the thing under contract, right? Now, I mean, your whole focus now has to shift over to, I got to get this property sold. Well, while you're focusing on getting this property sold, again, how many marketing pieces are going out? How many contracts are being prepared? How many offers are being made? All of these things, all of that shut down. Nothing's happening. How's that going to affect your sales? How many people are going to be calling you if none of that is happening? It's a whole big vicious cycle that all comes down to how's it affecting my sales? What's going on here that's affecting my sales? And that's why we talk about the team. In order for you to get these things under control, you have to start building that team of other people or technologies or systems or whatever that is that you can put into place that can start doing some of these things for you. Team doesn't have to necessarily just be people. It can be, leveraging technologies and softwares and money and other things like that. But people are the huge part of it, obviously, that make it all go. Because even if you get a technology or a system or something like that, somebody still has to run it. You still need a person to run that. Now, great, that's something that can take some of it off of your plate. You can run that, and it's doing 80% of it. You just freed up a whole bunch of your time to focus in some other areas. But still, those other areas, a lot of these other areas are going to take an actual human being, a team member, to make them function properly.
Absolutely. And you know what? It sounds like a lot. And you know what? It really is. And it's actually not too difficult to put together the team. It just takes the right mindset. This is great information, great stuff to think about, because I think when most people think about getting into wholesaling and real estate investing, they're drawn in by the prospect of making a lot of money, a big chunk of change on one deal. What's the lack of knowledge, or I guess the lack of focus in a lot of programs that are out there, is they make it all about the real estate deal, all about, oh, you're going to send out letters and your phone's going to be ringing and everyone's just going to want to be selling you that property at 60 cents on the dollar minus repair cost and another $12K for your wholesale fee. And that does happen. There's no doubt in my mind. Well, I know it happens. Paul and I do it about a dozen times a month. And at least that's the goal, and we're there. I lost my train of thought. I apologize about that. I think it's this echoey room. I think the point I was going to go with, though, with the power of the team, and this sounded difficult, is that, yeah, where the focus needs to be, it's because it's not all about to make this a business, not a hobby. It's not just about finding the seller. First of all, whose door are you knocking on? Whose phone are you calling? Who are you sending the letter to? Are they qualified? Do they have a motivating situation? How the hell do I know going in if there's even a possibility that they want to sell in the first place? So how do you gather your leads? There's a system for that. How do you approach your leads? There's a system for that. How do you get the person under contract and get them into title and get the title company to closing? There's a system for that. How do you get the property resold? A system for that. Then another thing a lot of people don't think about is, now I've got all this money coming in, great. Now I got to manage that. I got to manage that money. I need a financial officer in the organization. You see, if you're going to turn your hobby into a business, these are systems you need to start thinking about and start developing, and you can't do it by yourself. And the only way you're going to do it is by creating relationships with people and building a team.
Yes, indeed. Team. Or there's an alternative. You can freaking just join a team. What do you think of that idea? Hey, you know what? There's a team right there with the proper. Oh, wait. I don't have my thing up. There's a team right there in the PropertyNoodlers@gmail.com that you can just go, hey, why do I want to go out and start from scratch and build a whole team when all I got to do is send an email right here to PropertyNoodlers@gmail.com and say, I want to join your team because you already got systems in place and you already got things happening, and I can start learning the easiest part or the most difficult part, combination of the two, depends on which way you look at it, about actually getting deals and making money in wholesale real estate and seeing what kind of systems work and what kind of systems don't work and all the components that go with it. And I can see all that stuff. And I don't have to stress about why it's not working for me or any of that stuff. I just have to sit there and learn and do. I don't know, that could be an option. What do you think?
Yes, you could go out there and start from scratch and do it all on your own and build your own team and your own organization, versus joining a team that's already in existence and is already at the place where you want to be. You know what? That's not to say you don't join that team and create your own team in 3 to 5 years and build your own business, but why not see how a team runs? Why not see how a team operates and all the moving pieces, so you can actually learn how a business works? I don't know. Those do it all by myself and take 4 years, or join a team and learn it all in 1 year. I don't know.
And a team that's actually structured to learn and grow and learn how to build your own team at the same time, that's pretty awesome. I don't know. I think somebody should create that, John.
You know what? If anybody has any ideas about that, why don't you send an email over to PropertyNoodlers@gmail. You might just get a response from somebody who has that team put together in place. Hey, look, you know what I think the biggest thing is, and this hangout's not a sales pitch by any means, but I think the biggest hurdle for people is when they get into something and they feel they want to do it all on their own, they're just being, I think, ignorantly prideful. You know what? Get over yourself and get over your pride and ask people for help. Join with other people. And I know that pride is what gets in the way of a lot of people, because I've experienced it, and I've run into people that have said that, oh, I like what you and Paul have to offer as far as your team goes, but I think I can do this on my own. And I say, good luck. I'll probably be talking to you a year from now and you've moved on to something other than wholesaling. I just can't tell you how many people, there's more unsuccessful people than successful people. There's there's less success stories than failure stories in this business. And I think that pride getting in the way is one of the reasons, and just feeling that you've got to do it on your own and believing that you're going to, there's one of those failure stories.
Hey, you know what? It's 9 o'clock. We're out of time. And I just, my final thought here is I'm going to call BS on a comment that you just made, that this is not a sales pitch by any means. Everything is a sales pitch. Okay, guys, you know what? I am loud and proud about what we do and what we have. And I have no problem saying, hey, there's an opportunity here for you. And if you want to get up off your duff and take advantage of it, go right ahead. But you know what? It's up to you. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Everything's a sales pitch, guys. You're selling yourself to your kids. You're selling yourself to your boss. You're selling yourself to your wife. You're selling yourself to this whole world every minute of every day. So I have no problem with this being a sales pitch.
Well, you just do that's my whole sales pitch, is telling people it's not.
With that, John, a final word and get us out of here.
Well, we'll just close with the prayer that goes, "Oh, universe, I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom with which to make better use of the riches given to me at birth, consisting in the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever ends I may desire." So with that, make it a great, fantastic Wednesday, and we will see you back here in just 48 short hours on Friday for the Freedom Friday discussion, which I had